again, everyone, and welcome to this latest video we have in our series, Our Great Awakening. Today we're talking about responsibility, a very, very important concept we've got to get our minds around. We, each one of us, me, myself alone, I am responsible for my own soul evolutionary process, and you are the same. You yourself alone are responsible for your soul evolutionary process. We have got to take responsibility back from the people we gave it to, because we have given it to the wrong people. We have handed over responsibility to those who have manipulated us and have controlled us through fear. We need to take responsibility. Someone can hold the ladder for us, but we've got to get up the ladder ourselves. No Jesus, no God, no Buddha is going to come and get us into heaven. That is our total responsibility.
And that is one of the most fundamental aspects of spirituality. This taking control, taking our place in the great structure of everything. We must keep our soul clean, pristine. We must take responsibility for our actions and our interactions with our fellow beings, with the world around us, and for the universe in general. And taking it from there, there's a fundamental obligation to deal with and observe the laws of karma and to follow our dharma, or our soul path. So it's really, really important to keep ourselves right. And going from there, what does that mean in reality? That means treating people well, treating our world well. And it's so fundamentally important to take that responsibility, to be the one that goes out and says, I believe this or I don't believe this.
And we're back to energy again. We spoke in previous videos about energy. Every thought we send out creates an energy that brings the same back to us. Every word we speak creates a vibration that brings the same back to us. We have got to take responsibility for our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Nobody else can do that for us. We have got to be aware that what we send out there gets more of the same back to us. We've got every word we speak, every thought we send out. We have got to take responsibility for that.
And it's so easy just to keep our heads in the sand and hand over our power to other agencies, the government, religion, and education, and all these pillars of our society. But fundamentally, this is our life. We are here for a purpose, and the purpose is to fulfill our soul contract.
Yes, and each one of us is only responsible for our own soul contract. I am not responsible for yours. I am not responsible for my children's soul contracts. I am only responsible for myself. I cannot force my children to follow my path or to do what I'm doing. Just because, you have a business, you can't force your children to take on that business. That is not your responsibility. Your children have come with their own life plan, their own life lessons to learn, and that is their responsibility. It is not yours. You have got enough to do to look after your own life plan.
Absolutely. And that's where we have to say, this is not an easy path. It's not an easy path in the face of all these powers that are in presence in our world. The government's telling us one thing, health services telling us another thing, religion telling us a third thing, and education fundamentally bolstering up all that. It's not an easy path to follow your own conscience, your own instinct, your own intuition.
And we are not responsible for anybody else's happiness. Each one of us is responsible for our own happiness. You cannot make anybody happy if they're not able to do that themselves. We each must take responsibility for our own connection to spirit, because that is where we find happiness and contentment, when we are connected to spirit. And each of us has the responsibility to do that for ourselves, not for anybody else.
If we were to build a utopian world a beautiful world, the new age, then we must take responsibility. That is the foundations of it. And if we do take responsibility for it, we take responsibility for all the negatives, our negative thoughts, our negative behaviors that we all have. But it's so important to hold on to that principle of a pristine and clean soul.
And we will build our new world if we take responsibility for the thoughts we send out there, because the thoughts we send out create our reality. They manifest our reality. If we send out thoughts of doom and gloom, we're going to get that back. If we send out thoughts of beauty and peace and serenity in the world, we will get that. We will manifest that. We have got to take responsibility for every single thought we send out and every word we send out, because thoughts and words create energy vibrations.
If someone has done us wrong, it's very difficult to let that go. It's very difficult to forgive. But we must, because that negative emotion ties us immediately to that person in a very negative way. So we must deal with forgiveness as well.
And next week, that's what we will be dealing with, forgiveness. We'll be looking in depth into forgiveness in the next video. So until then, namaste.
Namaste.